This will be for the Khan Academy exercise using the intermediate value theorem. All right, so it says the intermediate value theorem describes a key property of continuous functions. For any function f that's continuous over the interval ab, the function will take any value between f of a and f of b. All right, so this interval right here, a comma b, these are the x values. F of a and f of b are the y values or y coordinates. All right, so I'll show you what this means on the graph. So let's say you have a continuous function here. And that just means you can draw the function without lifting your pen or pencil. Okay, in other words, there's no discontinuity, there's no break in the graph. All right, so let's say you have a continuous function between these 2 points. See the x coordinates here, a and b, the y coordinates, f of a and f of b. If the function is continuous, all right, in other words, there is no break in the graph, there's no discontinuity, that means all the points on this graph, they're going to be between the x values of a and b and the y values of f of a and f of b. So if you had a table of points, if you had a table of xy coordinates for this graph right here, the x coordinates would be between a and b. So they would run from a to b and all the points in between. And the y coordinates would run from f of a to f of b. All right, and the points on this graph would be all the points in between. All right, it says let f be a continuous function on a closed interval 1, 5, where f of 1 is 1 and f of 5 is negative 3. So if we were to make a table here, an xy table, all right, and I'll do it horizontally for now. If we were to make an xy table, it's for the x values. These are the x coordinates right here. It starts at 1 and it goes to 5. All right, it starts at 1 and it goes to 5. How about the y values? Well, at x equals 1, y equals 1, okay? F of 1 means you plugged in x equals 1 and got y equals 1. So for x equals 1, y equals 1. And for x equals 5, when we plug in 5 into the f function, we get a y coordinate of negative 3. All right, so that means on this interval, there are points in between 1 and 5 for the x coordinates, and there are points between 1 and negative 3 for the y coordinates. All right, so let's just check the answers. We're choosing one answer, so check one at a time. Now, in their write-up, answer choices, they say f of c and c, all right? They say that for every answer choice. So just so you know, f of c, what they call f of c, that's going to be your y coordinate. So in place of y, or I'll do it on the other side of the table here, the y coordinate is going to be f of c. All right, and if you're plugging in c in the f function, that means c is going to be your x coordinates. So the x coordinate is replaced with the letter c, the y coordinate is replaced with f of c. All right, let's look at each answer choice. F of c equals 2. Let's see if this is possible. F of c is the y coordinate. If you pick 2, that falls outside of the range. Here we're going from 1 to negative 3, so it cannot be 2. Okay, that falls outside of the range. Answer B, f of c is negative 2. That part is good. Negative 2 falls between 1 and negative 3. However, C is between negative 3 and 1. No, that's not true. Here we said C is between 1 and 5. So B is false. Answer C, f of c equals negative 2. Yes, we said that was okay. -2 falls between 1 and -3. And C is between 1 and 5. Yes, that is true as well. So it is answer C. You want to double check, answer D. F of C equals 2. 2 does not fall within the range of 1 and -3. Okay, remember Y is F of C. So answer C is the only one. All right, it says f is a continuous function on the interval -3, 2. The values of f are given. Which intervals must contain a solution f of x equals 2? Choose all that apply. All right, so the intervals here, these are the x intervals. All right, so we'll check each one at a time. F of x is, of course, the y interval. All right, so let me expand this a little bit here. All right, f of x equals 2. Before I go to the choices, let's find out which ones accommodate f of x equals 2. All right, this is basically y equals 2. And they have f of x right here. This is y equals, same thing. So where would y equals 2? Where would that fall? Well, if you take this interval right here, this goes from 6 to 1. You can fit a 2 in there. All right. So for the x interval, this is the y, this is the x. For the x interval of -3 to -1, that one works. All right. So that one should be one of the choices. Now, again, y equals 2 in a different color. If we go from 1 to 5, you can take the number 2 and it falls in between 1 and 5 as well. So that one is good. And the x interval for that is -1 to 0. All right, so that one should work as well. And finally, the last one. If you take y equals 2, does 2 fall in between 5 and 3? No, it does not. Okay, that one doesn't work. So the one for 0 to 2 does not work. So the only ones we have is -3 to -1 and -1 to 0. Okay, so those should be the only choices. All right, and if you scroll down here, -3 to -1, yes. -1 to 0, yes. 0 to 2, no. So just A and B. All right, f is a continuous function on this interval. Which of the following is guaranteed? All right, so same as last time. These right here are your y coordinates, f of c. These are your x coordinates. All right, so let's see. We can easily draw the table once again. All right, we have our x and our y values. All right, and what does the x run from? You can look at this interval here, or you can just look at what they plugged in. For x, it runs from -2 to +1. Remember, x is the value that's getting plugged into the function. And the y coordinates run from 3 to 6. Remember, 3 is with the -2, so write the 3 under the -2. And write the 6 underneath the 1. All right. Like we said last time in their answer choices, for x, they called it C, and for y, they called it f of C. All right, so let's check out their choices here. If you scroll down, f of C equals 0. Is that possible? Well, no. We said f of C is between 3 and 6. So f of C equals 0. That's no good. F of C equals 4. Yes, that's possible. We said f of C is between 3 and 6. You can fit a 4 in there. And that's for C between -2 and 1. And we said C is between -2 and 1. That's your x coordinates. So that's it right there. All right. We said these are the x's on the end. We said these are the y's stated at the beginning. You can double check the other two, answer C and D, make sure they don't work. All right, one more with the intervals here. We are looking at g of x equals 3. Okay, in other words, y equals 3. G of x is right here. These are the y values, same thing. All right, so in the first interval, we have a 3. In the first interval, does 3 fall between 0 and 4? Yes, indeed it does. So the one interval on the x's from -1 to 2, that one works. All right, so that interval is okay. Next up, we are on the interval for 3. We're on the interval from 4 to 9. Does 3 fall between 4 and 9? No. That's no good. So we don't even need to worry about the x interval. And again, y equals 3. Does 3 fall between 9 and 15? No, that one's no good either. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that x interval. This is the only one. -1 to +2. All right, so if you scroll down, that's it. All right, I didn't even have to look at the other ones.